Welcome back to our Hatters Walk. Hope you had a good international break. Lots to talk about this week. The main one being we've got a new man in place. But Rhett says, kind of feels like when you order the new iPhone, you can't wait to see the changes, the new style. Then when it arrives, you're all excited. You open the box and find it's the same iPhone as last year, just a different box. Poor Jack has got a lot to do, but I'm sure he will turn it around. That's our focus for this week's discussion on Where Hatters Walk. 20 minutes of Luton Town chat. Hope you are doing well. And we're starting off with welcome, Jack. Was it the right appointment? Time will tell, but we're going to get Mark and Lewis's reaction to that. Also, what's up with Naismith? We'll talk about football regulation, and we're continuing with our A to Z of Luton Town. We did A couple of weeks ago. We're now up to B, and B is 4, according to AI. This fella, can Mark and Lewis do any better? Hopefully. We'll have a good old debate at the end of the video on that one. But loads to go through since we last saw you. Mark, how are you doing, first of all? Have you ever known a season to be so
just on
topsy-turvy?
Just on your last pitch, how would we love to have Tim Breaker?
How are you doing, Mark? Are you well? Are you coping with all this?
I was. The appointment was. I was quite pleased with the appointment after Chris Powell came in, because obviously it's an inexperienced manager, but he's got background with Luton, been with us like when he was 7, so and he said all the right things when he's been interviewed. But I really liked the appointment, the fact that Chris Powell's come in. I mean, Chris Powell's got so much knowledge, and if you think he had to turn England round, the sort of mindset how England was with the, forgetting what they call them, the glory, whatever it was, but basically I think he's got experience of turning round a mindset, and we'll talk about the game in a bit, but it's just a time to get behind Jack, and Saturday proved that it's not a quick fix.
Yeah. No one's going to be getting on his back just yet, Lewis, and certainly we're not going to. But just last time we spoke to you, Lewis, you were talking about what you wanted in a manager. You said you didn't want another project manager. You wanted someone experienced, someone who's done this level before, who can guide you out of this league. Jack Wilshere doesn't seem to tick all those boxes you described. Are you disappointed?
I'm just trying to keep an open mind. I'm just praying that Jack Wilshere is like a Nathan Jones 2.0, and that ended up working out okay. I think like what Mark said, the best thing about this appointment is the number 2 in Chris Powell. I think if Chris Powell wasn't here, I would be head in my hands questioning everything the board's doing, because I don't get it. Because I think after watching Saturday, I think Jack Wilshere now knows even more about the players. It's quite worrying that when a new manager comes in, you just don't get a new manager bounce. Normally, that's the players you would think want to prove that they deserve to be starting the next game. And I think there's only one player out of that starting 11 that actually deserves to start against Northampton. And that's a massive concern. And to be fair, Wilshere's got no favourites at the moment. So I expect changes. I expect hopefully a reaction, but I'm not being too positive right now.
Yeah, how's it gone down across the fan base, Mark? I mean, obviously, I can only go off what I read online, which, was quite positive before Saturday, and then after Saturday, we get these points like Josh makes here. Another person, a stupid person, to take on this sinking ship of a job. It wasn't Bloomfield's fault. It's not going to be Rob's, and it ain't going to be Jack's. Recruitment and the players are comedic. None of them can trap the ball. Never mind pass, cross, and shoot. This whole squad needs gutting.
You asked about the general feeling. I got the impression a lot was how I felt. That's probably the most positive that I felt going to a game for a long time. And it wasn't because I was going to see Barcelona performance. It was just the fact it's a new start. I think we're all excited by Jack Wilshere. At the moment, he'll have a lot of credit for his playing career, but as time goes on, he'll be judged on what he does as a manager. But everyone I spoke to was positive without getting carried away, and there was a lot of hype around it. But I think it just like Lewis said, it's just highlighted what the big job Jack's got to do. But just in terms of the reaction, yes, Jack's only had 5 days. He's probably done a day of media, and then the players have had a day off, as he really had about 3 days with the players. So yes, people pay money, and there's booze at the end, which I don't get, because it's work in progress. And I mean, we'll talk about the game, but Mikey Wells had a shocker, but does it really help him cheering him off the pitch? But then that's just where we are and where we've been for such a long time. But I think I said on the last podcast, we just need to be patient, whoever the manager is, and it's not a quick fix, and that's how it's going to turn out to be.
Yeah, cheers, Mark. Lewis, some fans are saying that the season priorities have now changed because of just how bad the squad is. This isn't about promotion anymore now. It's not even about finishing mid-table. This, for some fans, is just about survival. Matt says here, I won't blame Jack, but the terrible complacent recruitment since January is hard. If Jack keeps us up and then rebuilds for next season, that now should be the aim, because this is the worst squad in my lifetime. Do you agree?
I don't think it's the worst squad in the lifetime. I think it's just we're just disconnected, and I think the 14 new players which we brought through the door, for some weird reason, their actual CVs are quite good on paper when you actually dissect what they've done in their careers. Like, we've signed experienced players who have done well in the Championship. We've signed players that have done well at this level, and then we've signed young, with a point to prove young players. So if you combine all that together, you would like to think that gives a recipe of trying to do something special this year. But what's happened is those 14 new players, for whatever reason, because of the losing culture before they arrived, they've kind of just embedded into that losing culture, and then they've just carried that on. Whereas they should actually be like having a point to prove, like they're new signings. I don't understand how they could just automatically be low on confidence. And that's something that I want to work out, and I would love to be able to ask that question. How can 14 new signings, yes, we haven't seen 2 of them, but how can they automatically be not performing? How can they not be high on confidence? Like, how has that happened? So something's wrong in the dressing room environment, and that's something that needs to change. I do think the recruitment for this summer, although the thing is, I sound stupid saying it, I don't think it's bad, but the problem is the first 12, 13 games which we've had so far this season, you can't even say any of them have been good. They've actually have all not performed on a consistent basis. If I had to pick a player that I think's done well, I have to say Saville, but Saville's done the best out of a bad bunch. So that doesn't help the situation whatsoever. And people keep talking about having a rebuild. Well, these 14 new players have just signed. They're not going next summer. They've signed probably 2-year contracts. So we're not going to then sell 14 new players and keep going through this cycle. We're not going to do it. It's mental to think that we're going to do that. So we're going to have to use the players which we've signed. Of course, the players that we didn't sign prior to this summer window might leave, and we probably need to get rid of as well. We still have 1 or 2 bad eggs, but it's something that Jack Wilshere's got to deal with, and if he can't get the best out of these group of players, then he's going to bring in a few of his own players in January.
Yeah, well said. If you're watching this live, let us know your comments, please, on Wilshere and anything that Mark and Lewis are saying. We'll read some of these out. Be interested to get your thoughts on whether this appointment has shocked you or pleases you. Mark, we spoke to our Norwich fans about this just briefly yesterday. You can watch that back on their views on it, because, of course, Wilshere took over from Hoff Torp towards the end of the season. He only got 2 games, but they were quite pleased with, obviously, how he brought players together. He was the one criticism they had of him actually was that he was too much the players' friends. He got on well with them and created a good spirit and culture in the dressing room, but perhaps didn't have that kind of boundaries with them. Maybe he's learnt from that in his time. But exciting times though. It's good to have a young manager who can probably get on a level with some of these players, put an arm around them. And do you think that was been missing with Bloomfold and Edwards beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like I said earlier, Roel Walters, who would have had at Arsenal when he trained the academy. He's, as with any new manager, they've got to stamp their authority. And I think the biggest thing is the mentality. The only games we've won this season is when we've kept a clean sheet. And I sit with Lewis, and as soon as we concede, we miss the penalty, we concede, and then you just know it's like a slow, it's a slow end to an inevitable defeat. So I think Lewis said a lot about the mentality, and I agree with Lewis that you got rid of a lot of people that had that losing mentality for the last 2 years. We've got 14 fresh players in, so why they're struggling with confidence, but maybe it's expectation, like that we were going to go up. If we take that off the agenda and then just start to rebuild, and I think use this season, I know a lot of fans won't like it, and like we should be up there, and Jack's already said he's got a good squad of good players, but I just see this season as anything we achieve as being a bonus, and Jack needs time, and we need to be patient. And I know it's hard when we're not watching great football, but try not to get on the backs, because Narky Wells didn't miss the penalty deliberately. Nobody's deliberately playing bad. It's just confidence is low and there's something missing. We're not scoring, we're not creating, and we're conceding silly goals. And when we concede, we lose. So there's a lot to fix, but I'd just say let's be patient and back the players, and just have faith that Jack's gonna turn it round. And that's just my feelings at the moment in terms of what the rest of the season looks like.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Mark. We had this tweet from Amal who says, give the new management team time to assess this show and implement new methods. No, in fact, we're going to boo the hell out of them. The board and too many players need booting out, but booing in Wilshere's first game, that's an absolute show. Let's talk about the Mansfield game briefly then, Lewis, if we can. I know it's gone, there's nothing we can do about it now, but who impressed, if any, and who disappointed you? We'll come on to one player in a minute that we should mention at the top of the show, Naismith, which fans are scratching their heads about. Who for you needs calling out?
Well, only one player performed well, and he didn't really have to try too much, and that was Clark. A Nathan Jones signing. That was the reality. The others nowhere near his level, and that's the concern really. Players that done well towards the back end of the Championship season are not performing at the start of this League One season. Cal Naismith being one of them. We saw leadership, we saw motivation from him last year. We're now not seeing it. Meant to be the captain. And I'm looking at the captain and he's performing poorly on a week-by-week basis. You've got Ali as well, who is playing in his correct position in an advanced attacking position instead of playing as a wing-back, and yet he's overthinking everything he's doing. He's got no confidence in himself. I don't get it. Honestly, the game against Mansfield, when I feel like teams are now coming to Luton and they're just finding it really easy to play against us, and it never used to be like that. And it got to the point in the 70th minute when Mansfield were 2-0 up. You like to think we're the home side, we're going to push, we're going to try and get a goal back. But Mansfield took their foot off the gas and went, you know what, Luton are not going to score it. We can tell they're not going to score. And all Mansfield did was the basics. They did the basics extremely well. Winning their battles all over the pitch. When they had the ball, move it quickly, clear their lines. It's not hard. Basics of football, and we're just struggling to do that. We can't. It's all right not being able to do the advanced stuff. That could be worked on, but to not do the basics, and it's been like this since the start. That's the problem.
Sorry to interrupt. We were 2-0 down. We didn't have a shot on target in the second half that I think I can remember. And my analogy is, like in cricket where fifth day and they just shake hands and walk off. They could have easily have done that with 20 minutes to go and sort of said, Mansfield are happy to go away with 3 points. We're not going to score. Let's just shake hands and walk off and go to the pub early.
Sticking with the Naismith one, Mark, I just want to get your thanks for that, Lewis, because I think you've echoed what other fans were saying on forums and so on. Leon says, Wells going to get most of the stick, but for me, Naismith was awful and showed no leadership out there. It's not just today, Mark. He's been the same all season. He's been so disappointing. That wasn't a lone tweet either from Leon. First of all, do you agree? And what do you put that down to?
He's a shadow of like Naismith Mark One, like the Naismith we got before he left to Bristol City, and even last year he was organising. There is sometimes the pressure on being captain and the pressure of playing as captain, but also pressure of picking a captain that's not playing well. And he has been left out a couple of times this year. Personally, I would give the captaincy to Jordan Clark. But yeah, he just doesn't look the same player he was. And like I said before, it's just you judge what you see with your eyes, but then you also don't know what you see in training. You don't know if they are lacking in confidence, but are there any other things that they're going through that we don't know about? But yeah, I don't think now that we've gone to a back four, if we have a back four and our two centres, and I don't think playing as a left back doesn't suit Naismith. When we played with three and he was the left of the centre halves, that suited him more. But yeah, if we play a back four and he's not in the centre two positions, so then the position isn't suiting him neither. So all those things combined, I just think is why he's struggling and we're not getting the best out of him.
All right, let's look ahead to the next set of fixtures then, which vary in different competitions and so on as the FA Cup starts as well. Northampton away this weekend then. Lewis, Brighton on the 21s, and of course in the trophy. Then, Robbie Savage comes on TV with Forest Green away at Stockport, and then home to Rotherham. What do you want to see in these games, Lewis? In terms of do we need formation changes, personnel? Do we just need to build confidence?
Build confidence, win games of football. That I don't know how they're going to gain the confidence. I think even just a win and then take the positives from the win and then just take it into the next game and then win the next game and then take even more positives from that and just keep taking it into each game. Northampton away, I feel like Northampton are probably like licking their lips thinking this is probably the best time to play Luton on our current form. And I don't really look forward to going away to Stockport, although they haven't started the season as well as we have. Their manager is a non-nonsense in Dave Challinor, who's done extremely well. He always finishes in the playoffs. He always does well. And they're starting to, I think they're going to get better as the season goes on, as expected with them, I think. So you like to think, if we could beat Northampton next week and then win your 2 cup games, you go into that game against Stockport on the back of 3 wins. That would give the players a lot of confidence, but it's really hard to actually think, can we win 3 games in a row?
Yeah. Okay. Of course, join us next week as we review that Northampton game. If you just come across the channel, then we really appreciate you viewing. If you're watching it live, do drop us a comment as to how you think those fixtures are going to go. We've been doing the A to Z as a little bit of light relief amongst all this doom and gloom over the last couple of weeks. We did A couple of weeks ago before the international break. We're now into B. We asked AI and they came up with Tim Breaker as the person that should go in the all-time Luton Town A to Z. Mark, can you think of anybody more appropriate? Beginning with B.
Being of that age, Kingsley Black. He was a great player, and more recently, Sonny Bradley. He was the centre and he was the heartbeat of our defence going through the leagues. But Tim Breaker, how we would love a Tim Breaker now.
Okay. Lewis, can you beat those?
So the 2 players for me, so Ross Barkley, the best ever Luton player, the best player I've ever seen wear a Luton shirt in my lifetime. What he did in that Premier League season was just unbelievable, just made very good Premier League players just look normal. And I don't think I've ever seen a player do that for Luton ever. So he's got to be up there, and then also a player that gave everything every time he wore the Luton shirt. Part of our rise from League Two all the way to the Premier League, scored in every division as well. Luke Berry. I think if you asked majority of Luton fans right now, would they take Luke Berry back? They would say yes in a heartbeat. So I have to put those two players up there.
Those are really good shouts. How do we settle this, Mark? Yeah.
I agree with everything Lewis has said. I mean, yeah, Ross Barkley, Luke Berry, just we could make a team of bees. Just
you could, couldn't you? Yeah.
we could have a five-a-side team of players beginning with B, and we do quite well in that.
Right. Okay. I think we have to put Luke Berry in it, aren't we? Because given the journey that gone on from all the divisions, I think that's the most sensible one. Join us next week as we can move on to letter C. A little bit more tricky, I'd imagine, that one. So join us for that discussion. And good luck against Northampton on Saturday. We'll be looking out for a more positive result. Come on, you're not going down, are you? Let's be honest. This is just going to be a.
Well.
Funny enough, we're nearer the relegation than we are the playoffs.
Yeah, but there's far worse teams in that league than Luton. Let's have that.
I don't know. We're giving everyone a run for their money. That's for sure.
Right. Thank you very much for watching. We really appreciate all the love and support you've given us. Obviously, check out Lewis's channel as well if you don't already. Lewis Williams Football. Drop us a subscribe, and we wish you all well to the trip for Northampton. See you in 7 days' time.
Bye.